I just want to give some background of where we are currently. Um, from the last two sessions, we have been discussing. From the last two sessions, we have been discussing about Lord Ṛṣabhadeva. So we are in the section of the Bhagavatam where Sukdev Goswami is describing the dynasty of different Manus. And currently, Sukdev Goswami is describing the dynasty of Swayambhu Manu, and his son is Priyavrat, and Priyavrat's son is Agnidhara, and Agnidhar's son is King Nabhi, who is married to Meru Devi, and Nabhi and Meru Devi uh, perform austerities to get the Lord as his son. And then Lord Rishabdev appears as the son of King Nabhi and Meru Devi. And Lord Rishabdev has 100 sons, the eldest of whom is Bharat Maharaj, and the other 81 sons are perfect Brahmanas, the other nine are the Nav Yogendras, and other nine, remaining nine are the perfect Kshatriyas. So this is what where we are, like, to just set some context. And in the last session, last chapter where Manan Prabhu stopped is that Bharat Maharaj is going around the world with his sons, and they reach a place called Brahmavarta, where there is a gathering of sages, and Lord Rishabdev, uh, Lord Rishabdev, in this place called Brahmavarta, he gives instructions to his son. So this chapter is Lord Rishabdev's teachings to his son. So with that background, we will start with reading the translations for this chapter. So there are, I think, 36 verses. Maybe we can have seven volunteers. Sorry, not seven, five, or maybe four volunteers is okay. We can do eight verses. Okay, so Nupur Mataji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna. Lord Rishabdev told his sons, my dear boys, of all the living entities who have accepted material bodies in this world, one who has been awarded this human form should not work hard day and night simply for sense gratification, which is available even for dogs and hogs that eat stool. One should engage in penance and austerity to attain the divine position of devotional service. By such activity, one's heart is purified and one attains this position. He, and when one attains this position, he attains eternal blissful life, which is transcendental to material happiness and which continues forever. One can attain the path of liberation from material bondage only by rendering service to highly advanced spiritual personalities. These personalities are impersonalists and devotees. Whether one wants to merge into the Lord's existence or wants to associate with the personality of Godhead, one should render service to the Mahatmas. For those who are not interested in such activities, who associate with people fond of women and sex, the path to hell is wide open. The Mahatmas are equipoised. They do not see any difference between one living entity and another. They are very peaceful and are fully engaged in devotional service. They are devoid of anger and they work for the benefit of everyone. They do not behave in any abominable way. Such people are known as Mahatmas. Those who are interested in reviving Krishna consciousness and increasing their love of Godhead do not like to do anything that is not related to Krishna. They are not interested in mingling with people who are busy maintaining their bodies, eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. They are not attached to their homes, although they may be householders, nor are they attached to wives, children, friends, or wealth. At the same time, they are not indifferent to the execution of their duties. Such people are interested in collecting only enough money to keep the body and soul together. When a person considers sense gratification the aim of life, he certainly becomes mad after materialistic living and engages in all kind of sinful activity. He does not know that due to his past misdeeds, he has already received a body which, although temporary, is the cause of his misery. Actually, the living entity should not have taken on a material body, but he has been awarded the material body for sense gratification. Therefore, I think it is not befitting an intelligent man to involve himself again in the activities of sense gratification by which he perpetually gets material bodies one after another. As long as one does not inquire about the spiritual values of life, one is defeated and subjected to miseries arising from ignorance. Be it sinful or pious, karma has its resultant actions. If a person is engaged in any kind of karma, his mind is called karmatmaka, colored with fruitive activity. As long as the mind is impure, consciousness is unclear, and as long as one is absorbed in fruitive activity, he has to accept a material body. When the living entity is covered by the mode of ignorance, he does not understand the individual living being and the supreme living being, and his mind is subjugated by fruitive activity. Therefore, until one has love for Lord Vasudeva, one who is none other than myself, he is certainly not delivered from having to accept a material body again and again. Even though one may be very learned and wise, he is mad if he does not understand that the endeavor for sense gratification is a useless waste of time. Being forgetful of his own interest, he tries to be happy in the material world, centering his interest around his home, which is based on sexual intercourse and which brings him all kinds of material miseries. In this way, one is no better than a foolish animal. The attraction between male and female is the basic principle of material existence. On the basis of this misconception, which ties together the heart of the male and female, one becomes attracted to his body, home, property, children, relatives, and wealth. In this way, one increases life's illusions and thinks in terms of I and mine. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Nupur. So next, Vamsidhar Gopal Prabhu.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Ninth, right? From 10th, right?
From 9.
Ninth, okay. When the strong knot in the heart of a person implicated in material life due to results of past action is slackened, one turns away from his attachment to home, wife, and children. In this way, one gives up the basic principle of illusion, I and mine, and becomes liberated. Thus, one goes to the transcendental world. O my sons, you should accept highly elevated Paramhamsa, a spiritually advanced spiritual master. In this way, you should place your faith and love in me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You should detest sense gratification and tolerate the duality of pleasure and pain, which are like the seasonal changes of the summer and winter. Try to realize the miserable condition of living entities who are miserable even in the higher planetary systems. Philosophically inquire about the truth. Then undergo all kinds of austerities and penances for the sake of devotional service. Give up the endeavor for sense enjoyment and engage in the service of the Lord. Listen to the discussions about the Supreme Personality of Godhead and always associate with the devotees. Chant about and glorify the Supreme Lord and look upon everyone equally on the spiritual platform. Give up the enmity and subdue anger and lamentation. Abandon identifying the self with the body and the home and practice reading the revealed scriptures. Live in a secluded place and practice the process by which you can completely control your life, air, mind, and senses. Have full faith in the revealed scriptures, the Vedic literatures, and always observe celibacy. Perform your prescribed duties and avoid unnecessary talks. Always thinking of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, acquire knowledge from the right source. Thus, practicing Bhakti Yoga, you will patiently and enthusiastically be elevated in knowledge and will be able to give up the false ego. As I advised you, my dear sons, you should act accordingly. Be very careful. By these means, you will be freed from the ignorance of the desire for fruitive activity, and the knot of bondage in the heart will be completely severed. For further advancement, you should also give up the means, that is, you should not become attached to the process of liberation itself. If one is serious about going back home, back to Godhead, he must consider the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the summum bonum and the chief aim of life. If he is a father instructing his sons, a spiritual master instructing his disciples, or a king instructing his citizens, he must instruct them as I have advised. Without being angry, he should continue giving instructions, even if his disciple's son or citizen is sometimes unable to follow his order. Ignorant people who engage in pious or and impious activities should be engaged in devotional service by all means. They should always avoid fruitive activity. If one puts into the bondage of karmic activity his disciple, son, or citizen who is bereft of transcendental vision, how will one profit? It is like leading a blind man to a dark well and causing him to fall in. Due to ignorance, the materialistic person does not know anything about his real self interest, the auspicious path in life. He is simply bound to material enjoyment by lusty desires, and all his plans are made for this purpose. For temporary sense gratification, such a person creates a society of envy, and due to this mentality, he plunges into the ocean of suffering. Such a foolish person does not even know about this.
Thank
If
you, bro.
someone is yeah.
Thank you, bro. Uh, Nandini and Ritesh.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. If someone is ignorant and addicted to the path of samsara, how can one who is actually learned, merciful, and advanced in spiritual knowledge engage him in fruitive activity and thus further entangle him in material existence? If a blind man is walking down the wrong path, how can a gentleman allow him to continue on his way to danger? How can he approve this method? No wise or kind man can allow this. One who cannot deliver his dependents from the path of repeated birth and death should never become a spiritual master, a father, a husband, a mother, or a worshipable demigod. My transcendental body, Satchidananda Vigraha, looks exactly like a human form, but it is not a material human body. It is inconceivable. I am not forced by nature to accept a particular type of body. I take on a body by my own sweet will. My heart is also spiritual, and I always think of the welfare of my devotees. Therefore, within my heart can be found the process of devotional service, which is meant for the devotees. Far from my heart have I abandoned irreligion, adharma, and non devotional activities. They do not appeal to me. Due to all these transcendental qualities, people generally pray to me as Ṛṣabhadeva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the best of all living entities. My dear boys, you are all born of my heart, which is the seat of all spiritual qualities. Therefore, you should not be like materialistic and envious men. You should accept your eldest brother, Bharat, who is exalted in devotional service. If you engage yourselves in Bharat's service, your service to him will include my service, and you will rule the citizens automatically. Of the two energies, spirit and dull matter, beings possessing living force, vegetables, grass, trees, and plants, are superior to dull matter, stone, earth, etc. Superior to non moving plants and vegetables are worms and snakes, which can move. Superior to worms and snakes are animals that have developed intelligence. Superior to animals are human beings, and superior to human beings are ghosts because they have no material bodies. Superior to ghosts are the Gandharvas, and superior to them are the Siddhas. Superior to the Siddhas are the Kinnaras, and superior to them are the Asuras. Superior to the Asuras are the demigods, and of the demigods, Indra, the king of heaven, is supreme. Superior to Indra are the direct sons of Lord Brahma, sons like King Daksha, and supreme among Brahma's sons is Lord Shiva. Since Lord Shiva is the son of Lord Brahma, Brahma is considered superior, but Brahma is also subordinate to me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because I am inclined to the Brahmanas. the Brahmanas are best of all. O respectful Brahmanas, as far as I am concerned, no one is equal or superior to the Brahmanas in this world. I do not find anyone comparable to them. When people know my motive, after performing rituals according to the Vedic principles, they offer food to me with faith and love through the mouth of a Brahmana. When food is thus offered unto me, I eat it with full satisfaction. Indeed, I derive more pleasure from food offered in that way than from the food offered in the sacrificial fire. The Vedas are my eternal transcendental sound incarnation. Therefore, the Vedas are Shapt Brahma. In this world, the Brahmanas thoroughly study all the Vedas, and because they assimilate the Vedic conclusions, they are also to be considered the Vedas personified. The Brahmanas are situated in the supreme transcendental mode of nature, Sattva Gun. Because of this, they are fixed in mind control, Shama, sense control, Dama, and truthfulness, Satya. They describe the Vedas in their original sense, and out of mercy, Anugraha, they preach the purpose of the Vedas to all conditioned souls. They practice penance, tapasya, and tolerance, titiksha, and they realize the position of the living entity and the Supreme Lord, Anubhav. These are the 8 qualifications of the Brahmanas. Therefore, among all living entities, no one is superior to the Brahmanas. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu. Anyone else would like to read the last section? Okay. Yeah, so I'll go ahead and complete the. I am fully opulent, almighty, and superior to Lord Brahma and Indra, the king of the heavenly planets. I am also the bestower of all happiness obtained in the heavenly kingdom and by liberation. Nonetheless, the Brahmanas do not seek material comforts from me. They are very pure and do not want to possess anything. They simply engage in my devotional service. What is the need of their asking for material benefits from anyone else? My dear sons, you should not envy any living entity, be he moving or non moving. Knowing that I am situated in them, you should offer respects to all of them at every moment. In this way, you offer respect to me. The true activity of the sense organs, mind, sight, words, and all the knowledge gathering and working senses is to engage fully in my service. Unless his senses are thus engaged, a living entity cannot think of getting out of the great entanglement of material existence, which is exactly like Yamraj's stringent rope. Sukdev Goswami said, thus, the great well-wisher of everyone, the Supreme Lord Ṛṣabhadeva, instructed his own sons, although they were perfectly educated and cultured, he instructed them just to set an example of how a father should instruct his sons before retiring from family life. Sannyasis who are no longer bound by fruitive activities and who have taken to devotional service after all their material desires have been vanquished also learn by these instructions. Lord Rishabdeva instructed his 100 sons, of whom the eldest Bharata was a very advanced devotee and a follower of Vaishnavas. In order to rule the whole world, the Lord enthroned his eldest son on the royal seat. Thereafter, although still at home, Lord Rishabdev lived like a madman, naked and with dishevelled hair. Then the Lord took to the sacrificial fire within himself, and he left Brahmavarta to tour the whole world. After accepting the feature of Avaduta, a great saintly person without material care, Lord Rishabdev passed through human society like a blind, deaf, and dumb man, an idle stone, a ghost, or a madman. Although people called him such names, he remained silent and did not speak to anyone. Rishabdev began to tour through cities, villages, mines, countryside, valleys, garden, military camps, cowpen, and homes of cowherd men, transient hotel, hills, forests, and hermitages. Wherever he traveled, all bad elements surrounded him, just as flies surround the body of an elephant coming from a forest. He was always being threatened, beaten, urinated upon, and spat upon. Sometimes people threw stones, stool, and dust at him, and sometimes people passed foul air before him. Thus, people called him many bad names and gave him a great deal of trouble. But he did not care about this, for he understood that the body is simply meant for such an end. He was situated on the spiritual platform, and being in his spiritual glory, he did not care for all these material insults. In other words, he completely understood that matter and spirit are separate, and he had no bodily conception. Thus, without being angry at anyone, he walked through the whole world alone. Lord Rishabdeva's hands, feet, and chest were very long. His shoulders, face, and limbs were also very delicate and symmetrically proportioned. His mouth was beautifully decorated with his natural smile, and he appeared all the more lovely with his reddish eyes spread wide like the petals of a newly grown lotus flower, covered with dew in the early morning. His irises, his eyes, were so pleasing that they removed all the troubles of everyone who saw him. His forehead, ears, neck, nose, and all his other features were very beautiful. His gentle smile always made his face beautiful, so much so that he even attracted the hearts of married women. It was as though they had been pierced by arrows of Cupid. About his head, about his head was an abundance of curly matted brown hair. His hair was disheveled because his body was dirty and not taken care of. He appeared as if he were haunted by a ghost. When Lord Rishabdev saw that the general populace was very agnostic to his execution of mystic yoga, he accepted the behavior of a python in order to counteract their opposition. Thus, he stayed in one place and lay down. While laying down, he ate and drank and passed stool and urine and rolled in it. Indeed, he smeared his whole body with his own stool and urine so that opposing elements might not come and disturb him. Because Lord Rishabdeva remained in that condition, the public did not disturb him. But no bad aroma emanated from his stool and urine. Quite the contrary. His stool and urine were so aromatic that they filled 80 miles of the countryside with a pleasant fragrance. In this way, Lord Rishabdev followed the behavior of cows, deers, and crows. Sometimes he moved or walked, and sometimes he sat down in one place. Sometimes he lay down behaving exactly like cows, deer, and crows. In that way, he ate, drank, passed stool, and urinated, and cheated the people in this way. O King Parikshit, just to show all the yogis the mystic process, Lord Rishabdev, the planetary expansion of Lord Krishna, performed wonderful activities. Actually, he was the master of liberation and was fully absorbed in transcendental bliss, which increased a thousandfold. Lord Krishna, Vasudeva, the son of Vasudeva, is the original source of Lord Rishabdev. There is no difference in their constitution, and consequently, Lord Rishabdev awakened the loving symptoms of crying, laughing, and shivering. He was always absorbed in transcendental love. Due to this, all mystic powers automatically approached him, such as the ability to travel in outer space at the speed of mind, to appear and disappear, to enter the bodies of others, and to see things far, far away. Although he could do all this, he did not exercise these powers. Hare Krishna. So, thank you, everyone. Before I start, we'll do the Mangalacharan prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapad Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha नमः ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांता स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे नमः ओम विष्णु This is all there. Sorry. हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधो जगतपते गोपेशा गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते ताप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुस्तुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये जय श्री कृष्णा चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे पंचकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. Thank you everyone for joining today. Thank you to all the readers and thank you Sundari Sakhi for leading the Kirtan. So yeah, let's get started. This is quite a big chapter. Let me okay. So can you all see the slides?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
Prabhu.
Thank you. So before I say anything, I want to seek blessings of all the senior Vaishnavas present here, and also congratulate all the initiates. This is the first Life of Devotion session after we are having after the recent initiations at Bhakti Center. So congratulations to Param Nimai Prabhu, Manjiri Gopi Mataji, Sankirtan Acharya Prabhu, Anuradha Priti Mataji, and Sundari Sakhi for second initiation. Pray that you can all sincerely follow your vows to your Guru and please your Guru. Thank you. So yeah. So this chapter can be like divided into, there are multiple topics of discussion, but at a high level, there are these 9 topics that it can be divided into. So the first 3 verses talk about the importance of human life, and the next 3 verses talk about the ending the transmigration cycle, that is the cycle of birth and death. The verse 9 and 10 instruct about cutting through the knots of attachment and illusion. And the next verses talk about the process of attaining liberation. And from 15 to 18, the responsibilities of leader. 19 to 20, how the Lord and his devotees appear in the same family. And from 21 to 25, the Lord establishes the glories of the Brahmana and establishes them as the supreme. And from 26 to 27, Lord teaches how to respect all living entities, engage in bhakti, and the last section talks about how Lord Rishabdev exemplified the he was the ideal example for anyone in like the sannyas ashram, and he lived his life as a renunciate, as an avadhuta. So the first verse highlights it's so Rishabdev starts by highlighting the importance of human life. Nayam deho deho bhajam niloke, of all the living embodied beings, one who has been awarded the human form of life should not work simply hard for sense gratification, which is available even to dogs and hogs that eat stool. So the human form of life is very rare, and this theme we see is very common throughout the scriptures. So there are many places in the scriptures where this is mentioned how rare the human form of life is. So out of 8.4 million species of life, 4 lakh species are the human species of life. And the human form of life, so you can categorize into like all the species into two categories. So one is the karma yoni and the other is the bhoga yoni. So bhoga yoni means that in those species you are not creating any new karma. So all the animals and even like any other any other species other than humans, you are not creating any new karma. So that is the bhoga yoni. And only the human form of life is where we are creating new karma. So that is why human form of life is given a lot of importance, because in this human form of life, you can decide what your next destination can be. Either you can go up in your consciousness or you can go further down in your consciousness. Whereas in any other species, you are progressing up. So in any other species, you are just burning your karma and making your way to the human form of life, where you again have the opportunity to elevate your consciousness and be liberated from this cycle of birth and death, or again be uh, again like going to be wound up in this. And even Prahlad Maharaj says this. Would anyone like to read this verse?
I can read.
Yes, Vamshidhar Gopal.
I think Jagannath Gopal Prabhu raised his hand. So you wanna read, Prabhu?
No, go ahead, Prabhu. Go ahead, Vamshidhar Gopal.
Shri Prahlad उवाच कौमारम् आचरित प्रज्ञो धर्मान् भागवतान् इह दुर्लभं मानुषं जन्म तदपि अध्रुवम् अर्थदम्. Prahlad Maharaj said, one who is sufficiently intelligent should use the human form of body from the very beginning of life. In other words, from the tender age of childhood, to practice the activities of devotional service, giving up all other engagements. The human body is most rarely achieved, and although temporary like other bodies, it is meaningful because in human life one can perform devotional service. Even a slight amount of sincere devotional service can give one complete perfection.
Yeah, so Prahlad Maharaj also mentions like Durlabham, that this human form of life is very rare, and it's also very useful. So we must not waste this human form of life. Even Bhakti Vinod Thakur, there is this bhajan, Durlabha Manava Janma, where he mentions that how this human form of life is very rare, so one must not waste this. So once we have received this human form of life, so what we should do? So that is the next instruction of Lord Rishabdev. Tapo divyam putra kayena sattvam. That one should engage in austerity to attain the divine position of devotional service, by which one's heart is purified and which leads to infinite happiness in relation to Lord. So this is the purpose of human form of life that Lord Rishabdev is establishing. So this leads to the question that what is real austerity? So I would like to open here for discussion, because this I think topic comes almost is also like very common. What is austerity? So anyone wants to like share thoughts, whatever they think about what is austerity. Or what austerities we do on a daily basis. Yes, Jagannath Gopal Prabhu and then Krishnan Prabhu.
So austerity in a formal definition, Prabhupada describes as a voluntary inconvenience that we undertake for a higher cause. So that is like austerity or tapasya, and it is very individualistic as to what is austerity. Of course, there are certain austerities on a physical level that we all are encouraged to do, like following Ekadashi, or could be attempting to wake up in the morning,
Yeah.
do japa attentively. These are on a subtle level, and then there are more. Sorry, these are on a physical level. There are more subtle austerities, like keeping aside our preconceived notions, and putting that faith, taking that leap of faith. So that is also austerity. So yeah, and it's very individualistic. What can be austerity for one person can be a very easy thing for someone else. So one has to see. Yeah.
Yes, Prabhu. Yeah. Krishnan Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. I think Jagannath Gopal Prabhu gave such a comprehensive answer. The only thing I was going to say was, the first two steps in the Patanjali Yoga Sutra, Yama, Niyama, are doing the things that are, that are prescribed by, and avoiding the things that are not conducive um, to furthering in Krishna consciousness. So if you
Yes.
do that, that's also austerity.
Yeah. So you mentioned Yama and Niyama and the things which are favorable for Krishna consciousness.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah. Thank you. Gaur Kumar Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. So Srila Prabhupada mentions many times that real austerity is consistency over intensity. So basically, quietly doing your sadhana daily, even when it is uninspiring, that consistency over the intensity of doing it for a certain time and then stopping. So that Prabhupada mentioned is austerity at one level. And the second time, I want to mention two other things. One, and the second thing is sacrifice for a higher purpose is also austerity. That is giving up one's ego, laziness, comfort, just to serve Krishna, just to please Krishna. That
Yeah.
also Srila Prabhupada has mentioned is austerity. And the last one is, as Jagannath Gopal Prabhu mentioned, austerity is not necessarily self-torturing yourself. It means to cleanse the false ego and awaken devotion. And finally, a quote from Prabhupada, which I found: real austerity is to accept everything favorable for Krishna's service and rejecting everything unfavorable. And Prabhupada said that is real tapasya, that is real austerity. So, just to summarize, real austerity is to willingly undergo discomfort that leads to some kind of inner purification and deepens our connection with Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you. That was very, very, comprehensive, I would say. And especially what you said about accepting what is favorable and rejecting what is unfavorable. I think this is also one of the Goswamis mention it, right, Prabhu? Is it in Nectar of Instruction?
Yes, Prabhu. Rupa Goswami, Srila Rupa Goswami mentions.
Yes. So I found a very beautiful short video of His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj just answering this question about austerity, which I thought uh, is very relevant. So I will just play this clip and we can all hear attentively. I found this very instructive. So I'll just play this now and please hear attentively.
Yes, Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Maharaj, I have seen personally in my life.
Could you all hear the sound?
Yes, Prabhu, very loud and clear.
Okay, great.
Yes, Prabhu. Yes.
That whoever is a very, great devotee who has become a great devotee in his life has been centered around, some austerities. Even, when we see Lord Chaitanya telling the freaking Brahmana, that, what austerities Gajendra did. But Maharaj in his previous life, he was a great sage and he did quite a lot of austerities. And he was sitting in, meditation and everything like that. But personally, like Shabri also, you were discussing yesterday. So she also, went through a lot of austerities. But personally, it has been said by Prabhupada that, no austerity is required and things like that. So could you please clarify?
Clarify. Prabhupada never said that. Human life is meant for austerity. What is austerity? Austerity is to accept what is favorable for devotional service and reject what is unfavorable. It is not the austerity that attracts Krishna, it's the love. If we are performing our austerities for the purpose of awakening that love, then it will be a positive aid to achieve that love. Our austerities is to express to Krishna our sincere desire to love him. When we fast on Ekadasi, when we follow the 4 regulative principles, when we rise early in the morning, when we take our baths, when we perform our service, sometimes it's austerity. And we must do that if we want to purify ourselves. But it's not the austerity that captures Krishna. If we don't have the proper attitude, if we're not doing it, ultimately austerity is to reduce the distractions of the material inclinations of the body and mind so that we can fix our body and mind in the loving remembrance and service and meditation on Krishna. That is austerity. And we need to do that because we're so much distracted. We're so much diverted. But it's not the austerity that attracts Krishna. It's the love that we gain through the austerity. So we don't have to do excessive austerities. But we do have to, if we want to develop this love, do what is favorable for the awakening of our bhakti. So yes, Gajendra and Shabari, they did tapasya, but they did it to achieve pure love. And it's that bhakti that connects them, not the austerity. Austerity is like a tool. But the tool is meant to it's meant to be used by a person who's going to do something right with it. So for this Brahmin, Lord Chaitanya wanted to teach the world that people can do austerities and become proud. It's usually what happens if we do too many austerities. We become hard-hearted and proud. Look what I could do. Look at how I could fast. Look at my celibacy. Look at my sleeping. The 6 Goswamis, they were the most austere of anyone. The perfection of life is to follow in the footsteps of the 6 Goswamis. They slept 1 to 2 hours a day. They were Goswamis, completely detached from any physical relationships, pleasure. They hardly ate anything. But they were absolutely humble because they did it out of love. So when austerity creates pride, When austerity is for the purpose of being austere or just getting some spiritual advancement, then that austerity is a distraction itself. So Shabri did austerity, but she did it for love. And it wasn't her austerity that attracted Ram, it was her love that attracted Ram. And love was the mean, austerity was the means of deepening that love. Does that answer your question?
Hare Krishna. So, yeah, what touched me the most about this is that austerity, we do austerity, but the underlying intention behind why we are doing austerity is very important. Anyone else, if you want to share anything? Okay, so we'll go ahead. Okay. Yeah. So then in the next verse, Lord Rishabdev mentions about serving the Mahatmas, the great devotees who have realizations about the Supreme Being. So why is it important to serve the devotees? Because it is by serving the devotees that we make progress in our spiritual life. And Krishna is pleased when we serve his devotees. So we see in Bhagavatam itself, can you all think of any examples where devotees achieve perfection by serving other devotees?
Narad Muni.
Yeah, Narad Muni. So in the very initial section parts of the Bhagavatam, we hear how Narad Muni served the Bhakti Vedantas and he used to take their remnants and how he received their blessings, and very soon he got darshan of the Supreme Lord because of that. Uh, yeah, any other examples? Yeah, what Jagannath Gopal Prabhu mentioned, that's what I also had one example. Um,
We could say Prachetas also. Well, not really. Hold, I take that back. Not really. Mm, serving great souls. I mean, there are so many examples, but not even one is coming in my mind except for Narad Muni.
Can Devahuti be considered?
How?
She served her husband, who was a great devotee.
Yeah. Why not? Yeah.
yeah, I think in
Rantidev's name comes to my mind. Rantidev, sir, I mean, he served so much that he gave up everything, right? All his, but
Pritu Sakiga. Pritu. Sorry.
yeah, I don't know the full story of Rantidev from Gopal.
Rantidev, yeah, I mean, but I'm not sure it was just devotees, but he was into service, like serving everyone, giving everything, like helping others, and then that's how Rantidev Maharaj attained perfection.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, good to know that. Thank you, Vamsidhar Gopal.
This may be a minor example, but Ajamil, the reason he named his son Narayan was because they did service to some visiting sadhus, and the sadhu suggested to keep the name Narayan. This is what I've heard.
Yes, Prabhu. Exactly. Yeah, thank you. I think the story of Ajamil also comes in the next canto, actually, not this canto. Okay. So yeah, service to Mahatmas, and then he instructs to uh, to give up the association of womanizers, as it opens the doors to hellish conditions and the qualities of Mahatmas. So the point about association is also very important. In Nectar of Instruction, in both verses 2 and verses 3. So in verse 2, where it's mentioned about the 6 activities that destroys one devotion, it is mentioned that one should give up the association of worldly minded people. And in verse 3, it is mentioned that uh, one should one should abandon the association of non-devotees. So in both the favorable and unfavorable things for bhakti, um, it is mentioned that one should give up the association. So association doesn't mean just being in close proximity of someone who is like worldly minded, but it's about being influenced uh, by them. So uh, that is what is like the meaning of association. And then Lord Rishabdev mentioned about the qualities of Mahatmas in the next verse, how a Mahatma is equipoised, sees all living entities at the same plane. He's peaceful and fully engaged in devotional service, devoid of anger, works for the benefit of everyone, and does not behave in any abominable way. And furthermore, Lord Rishabdev also mentions for the householders that although they are detached, but at the same time, they are not indifferent from executing their duties. So, as householders, this is like important for us to not give up the execution of uh, duties. So, going ahead. So in the next section, Lord Rishabdev is instructing about how to end the cycle of birth and death. So first, in verse 5.5.4, he condemns sinful activities. That is vikarma. That one. So that is what he condemns, doing sinful activity. So if we should not do sinful activity, then is it that we should turn to doing pious activities? So in the next verse, 5.5, he also condemns doing pious activities, or like which are called as karma. So both pious and impious activities are considered as fruitive activities, which means which create further karma. And as long as we are creating more karma, be it good or bad, we will have to keep taking birth in this material world. So finally, what is the solution? In the verse 5.6, the Lord mentions that how only by bhakti, when we attain love for the Lord and perform perform akarma, one be liberated from this cycle of birth and death. The next section is about mentions about cutting the knots of illusion, and there is this another verse which is, I think this line is very famous, Janasya mohoyam aham mameti. The sexual attraction between the male and female, the basic principle of material existence, is called a double knot of heart. It creates an attraction to body, home, property, children, relatives, and wealth. And in illusion, one thinks, I am this is mine. So, so, so it, so this, by hearing this verse, one should not kind of be startled at just by being a grihastha. So, in the purport of the text 5.8, I just want to read what Prabhupada mentions. So, let me quickly go there. Yeah. Yes. Can someone read this section?
I can read through. Sometimes it is found among exalted personalities like Lord Brahma that the wife and children are not a cause of bondage. On the contrary, the wife actually helps further spiritual life and liberation. Nonetheless, most people are bound by the knots of the marital relationship, and consequently, they forget their relationship with Krishna.
Yes, thank you, Ritesh Prabhu. So, yeah, so it is if together as a family we come and practice devotional service, we encourage one another, then then it is not that we are pounding one another, but on the contrary, we are liberating and helping one another in our spiritual life. So, moving ahead, then the Lord instructs about the different processes of which one can follow to attain liberation. And there are like a lot, like following a guru, detachment from matter, tolerating dualities, and like this there are like 25 processes that Lord Rishabdev mentioned. And these like it may appear like these are like a lot of things which one has to do. So then what should we do, like seeing this like long list of things, and which appears very difficult to achieve all of these qualities to follow. So in verse 5.18.12 in Srimad Bhagavatam, uh, we, so let's read what is mentioned here. Yashyasti bhaktir bhagavate akinchana सर्वे गुणैस्तत्र समस्ते सुरा हर्वे अभक्त्यास्कुतो महद्गुणा महनो मनोरथेस्ति dhavato abhin. All the demigods and their exalted qualities, such as religion, knowledge, and renunciation, become manifest in the body of one who has developed unalloyed devotion for the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vasudev. On the contrary hand, on the other hand, a person devoid of devotional service and engaged in material activities has no good qualities, even if he accepts the practice of mystic yoga or the honest endeavor of maintaining his family and relatives. He must be driven by his own mental speculation and must engage in service to the Lord's external energy. How can there be any good qualities in such a man? So not so this verse is encouraging as we engage in bhakti, all the good qualities of uh, demigods will start to appear, and eventually we can get to that perfect stage. So yeah, seeing like this lot of things, one should not be like bewildered or worried about how one can achieve this. And as a result of following this process of bhakti, the strong knot in the heart of karma is slackened, and one gives up this principle of illusion, which is the thinking of I and mine, and finally attains bhakti. And by following this process, one is freed from the ignorance of desire and fruitive activities, and the knot of bondage in the heart is slackened. So that is what is the result that Lord Rishabdev mentions as we start on the process, as we follow this process. Then in the next verses, from verse 15 to 18, Lord Rishabdev mentions the responsibility of a leader. So yeah, this is a very old photo of His Holiness Radhana Swami Maharaj with His Holiness Bhakti Tirth Maharaj. And why I put this photo, I'll come to that in some time. But the main responsibility of a leader is anyone like who is taking a responsible position in the society, like a father, a guru, a spiritual king. So the most important quality that Lord Rishabdev mentions a leader should have is he should be able to deliver his dependence from the cycle of birth and death. And if one does not have this, if one does not have such quality, if a leader does not have such quality, then they can be rejected. So that is what Lord Rishabdev mentions in text 18. Gurur na sasyat swajano na sasyat pita na sasyat janana sasyat divyam na tatsyan na patis janasyan na mochyan samupetamrityam. One who cannot deliver his dependents from path of repeated birth and death should never become a spiritual master, a father, a husband, a mother, or a worshipable demigod. So, what examples can we think from scriptures where the dependents rejected their authority because they were not qualified?
Bali Maharaj.
Yeah, Bali Maharaj and Shukracharya is the classic example. When Lord Vamandev asked for 3 steps of land, and Bali Maharaj realized that he's a supreme and he wanted to surrender everything, and Shukracharya said that you should not do that. At that point, the higher, because Shukracharya did not, he was acting selfish, and he did not have that quality of being able to deliver. So Bali Maharaj was apt in rejecting his spiritual master, Shukracharya. Any other examples?
Vallabh was put on the chat, Prahlad Maharaj.
Yes, Prahlad Maharaj rejected his father, Hiranyakashipu.
So the Brahmanas in King Vena's dynasty rejected King Vena, and as the like they rejected him on the post of the king, and they killed him.
Yeah,
That is one rejection. Yeah.
that is, yeah, I'm not, that is of course there, but is Brahmana dependent? Of course, he's dependent on the king for providing, but a king is supposed to take guidance from the Brahmana, right?
Yeah, yeah. No, I was thinking in terms of, like the Praja is the
Yes, yes.
child of the king in that sense. Yeah, but you're correct. Yeah. The hierarchical authorities with the Brahmanas more than the king. So, yeah.
Yeah. Ritesh Prabhu, you were saying something?
Vibhishan.
Yeah. So Vibhishan rejected the authority of his brother, who was the king at that time, Ravana, and
Yes.
he went to Lord Ram. So yeah, that is very apt. Vallabh Chaitanya Prabhu is saying the Brahman Patnis. Yes, that is the also like how the Brahman Patnis rejected the Brahmanas and went to Lord Krishna.
Vidura also.
Yeah, Vidura rejected. Yeah, he left the courtyard after Duryodhan, and Dhritarashtra would, after like multiple times trying to advise Dhritarashtra, he left that when he was insulted by Duryodhan. And Lekha Mataji is saying Rama rejected Jabali, who is priest, friend, and counselor of King Dashratha. I'm not. Does anyone? I'm not aware of this. Jabali.
She's given the explanation because.
Oh, Hare Krishna. Yeah, sorry, I was not able to speak earlier. Yeah, so Jabali is actually like a counselor of court in Ayodhya, and he's also like a close friend of King Dashrath. So when Rama gets banished so he leaves for the forest, and everybody comes asking Lord Ram to like get back, right? Um, Jabali is actually he's a strong promoter of atheism and materialism. So he asks Rama to like give up on keeping up with words, keeping up with dharma, reject all of that, and get back to the kingdom and become the king and enjoy Ayodhya. So Rama actually then expresses his disappointment, and I cannot believe that my father, who's a great king Dashrath, has a friend like you. He actually like outright state. There are very few instances where Rama's called someone out in Ramayana. This is one of the one such incident that happens in Ramayana, and he outright rejects Jabali, who is otherwise a counselor and advisor for King Dashrath back then. So um, Ram goes ahead and in the path of Dharma. And there is also another instance where Rama not outright rejects, but but like doesn't agree with Sugriva's advice on rejecting Vibhishan when Vibhishan comes and does Sharanagati to Rama. Sugriva's like brother of a demon king can only be a demon. Like he cannot be trusted. So we should not accept him. And Rama says, even if Ravana comes asking for friendship, I will be his friend. And there he says the Sakrateva Pratannaya Tavasni Yasate sentence.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for that. Yeah, Jagannath Gopal Prabhu is also saying Madhavacharya rejected his guru Achyut Preksha because Achyuta Preksha was a Mayavadi. Yeah, I'm not aware, but yeah, thank you for this example. So yeah, these are almost everything that I had, and in fact, these are what Prabhupada mentions in his purport. So which every one of you mentioned. Only I think Katvanga is something which no one mentioned. So I think Katvanga Maharaj was in the court of Indra, and when he realized that he has only a few moments left to live, he immediately like left his duty and yeah, started worshipping Lord Vishnu. So this is kind of example of how Katvanga Maharaj gave up rejected his superior Indra and worshipped Vishnu. So every other example, Bali, Vibhishan, Prahlad, also Bharat, I think no one mentioned, but Bharata also rejected his mother Kaikai because she abandoned Lord Ram.
Yeah, that came to my mind, but I thought it was a momentary rejection, like not like a reject,
Yes,
just
yes.
for the time being. Yeah.
Nandini Singh, Raghunath Das Goswami, Bharat. Okay, in the interest of time, we will stop here about this discussion. But yeah, so these are like some examples we see in scriptures where the subordinates reject their like superiors or authority. But yeah, but it is important that in our own personal life, it's not that if someone very close to us, maybe our parents, maybe our relatives, they are not devotees, that we kind of reject them. But on the contrary, we see the example of Prahlad Maharaj, how even though he did not like accept the direct authority of his father, but he was still praying to Lord Vishnu, to Narasimhadev when he appeared. When he asked for a benediction from Prahlad Maharaj, what do you want? He said that please deliver my father. And Lord Narasimhadev says that uh, I've already delivered 21 generations, your past 21 generations and 21 generations to come. So in this way, just by following the path of bhakti, we can help all of our close, near and dear ones to also attain the mercy of the and favor of the Supreme Lord. And another very important quality of a leader that Lord Ṛṣabhadeva mentions is that without being angry, he should continue to give instructions to his disciples or sons or citizens, even if they are unable to follow it. So we definitely see like this in the example of Srila Prabhupada. how very often his disciples would not be able to follow sometimes the instructions that he gave them, but he very patiently continued to instruct them, not reject them, and encourage them in their practice. So this is another very important quality of a leader uh, that Lord Rishabdev mentions. And also, why I had mentioned about the here the photo of His Holiness Bhakti Tirth Maharaj is because I recently heard a story by His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj. He was sharing about his experience of being of he was sharing about his experiences with Bhakti Tirth Swami Maharaj, and he was sharing how before Bhakti Tirth Maharaj, his name was Ghanshyam Prabhu, and he was a very great book distributor, and he distributed like the Bhagavatam sets in almost all the big libraries and universities in the US. And whenever Prabhupada would receive a letter from Bhakti Tirth Maharaj, he used to look forward to it about the reports that Bhakti Tirth Maharaj used to send. In this way, he was doing a lot of service, and he himself was living a very austere life. He would just eat once a day, and what he would eat is just some fruits and nuts, and sometimes he would mix it with yogurt and eat. But one time when he was in Mayapur in 1976, I believe, he it came to his attention that all of the people who were serving under him, they were thinking of resigning, because being with him, he was so inspired, so enthusiastic to serve, and he would get up very early in the morning and go to be there at the universities even before they opened, and he would come late, and throughout the night he would many times stay awake and read Prabhupada books just under a flashlight. So serving under him, many devotees were feeling stressed of keeping up, and they were thinking that we should leave. And when this was brought to his attention, he became very morose, and he said that I was feeling very bad that I neglected the what impact, even though I had the right mood, but I neglected the impact that it was having on the devotees around me. And at that moment, Maharaj says that he made a resolve in his mind that uh, he would encourage, he would make his life's mission to encourage the devotees in the service of Srila Prabhupada. So this is just something that I wanted to share about Bhakti Tirth Maharaj in this regard. And yeah, so going ahead, yeah, there was a video, but this one for now. And further, Lord Rishabdev, he establishes how the Brahmanas are the supreme, and so he mentions the different, like how like there is different gradations. So the inanimate objects, and then the immovable living entities, movable living entities are superior, the animals are superior, and then human beings. And so, like this, Lord Rishabdev mentions a whole gradation up to Lord Brahma, and then how he says that the Brahmanas are even above everyone because the Lord is inclined towards them. So, and the way to please the Lord, to feed the Lord, is the feed how like he accepts his offering through the mouth of the Brahmanas and not through the sacrificial fire. So the Lord established Brahmanas as the supreme and mentions the 8 qualities of a Brahmana. So we recite the verse quite often, Namo Brahmane Devaya Go Brahmane Hitaya Cha Jagat Hitaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namaha. So Lord Krishna is like the Lord of the Brahmanas, and so the Brahmana is someone who is by quality and not by birth. So when we see these qualities uh, manifest in a person, and by following the path of bhakti, anyone can actually become Brahmana. So we just have a few more minutes left. I'll just quickly try to go through the remaining slides. And yeah, and then towards the end, he enthrones Bharat Maharaj, the eldest son, as the king, and he instructs his sons to serve their eldest brother. So here we can see that first thing is the Lord wants his devotees to be the chief ruler of the planet. And this is even like in the battle of Kurukshetra, Lord Krishna wanted to establish Yudhishthir Maharaj as the king of the planet. And here we see that Lord Rishabdev established Bharat Maharaj as the king of the planet. And further, instructs his son to serve their eldest brother, and their service to Bharat Maharaj would be considered service to him indeed. So here we see that there is kind of some contradiction because earlier Lord mentions that one should give up all the ties to their home uh, and family members, whereas here he's mentioning that one should serve uh, that they should serve their eldest brother. So we'll just quickly see what Prabhupada says in the purport regarding this. Um, yeah, so here Prabhupada is mentioning. The question may be asked why one should be attached to family members. For in the beginning, it was advised that one should not be attached to home and family. However, it is also advised Mahiyasyam Padarajo Abhisheka. One has to serve the Mahiyan, one who is very spiritually advanced. Mahat Sevam Dwaram Ahur Vimukte. By serving the Mahat, the exalted devotees, one's path of liberation is open. The family of Rishabdeva should not be compared to an ordinary materialistic family. Bharat Maharaj, Rishabdeva's eldest son, was specifically very exalted. For this reason, the other sons were advised to serve him for his pleasure. That was to be their duty. So, yeah, when someone becomes a devotee, they are above any material consideration, and the Lord advised them to serve their eldest brother in that regard. And finally, we see that Lord Rishabdev is acting as an avaduta, uh, he's living as an avduta, and we see that he's passing stool and urine and everything. And regarding this, also Prabhupada mentions something like how we can understand this actually by giving an analogy. So I'll just read it. As far as Rishabdev is concerned, it has already been explained. Idam shariram mama durvibhavyam. He did not at all possess a material body, and therefore he was tolerant of all the troubles offered to him by the bad elements in society. Consequently, he could tolerate people throwing stool and dust upon him and beating him. His body was transcendental and consequently did not at all suffer pain. He was always situated in his spiritual bliss. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, the Supreme Lord is situated in everyone's heart, O Arjuna, and is directing the wanderings of all living entities who are seated on a machine made of material energy. So, this is the part which I wanted to read. Since the Lord is situated in everyone's heart, he is in the heart of hogs and dogs also. If hogs and dogs in their material body live in filthy places, one should not think that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in his Paramatma feature, also lives in a filthy place. Although Lord Rishabdeva was maltreated by the bad elements of the world, he was not at all affected. Therefore, it is stated here, Swamahima Avasthena. He was situated in his own glory. He was never saddened due to being insulted in the many ways described above. So yeah, with that, I think we are already a few minutes over time. So I will stop here. And thank you everyone for attending. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. Such a beautiful class. And yeah, so many wonderful points you brought out actually. You started very sweetly by congratulating the newly initiated devotees, and your slides were amazing. You did a lot of research with lot of quotations and practically relevant topics like austerity, service to great souls. Okay, Amma. Okay. Great soul service to great souls, the responsibility of being someone's maintainer, spiritual or material maintainer, Guru na Sasyad, or that verse. Amazing, relevant topics. And Maharaj's answer about austerity, that was superb actually. That was very nice. I've heard it before, but it had slipped out of my mind. But yeah, thank you for sharing that. It's like the epitome of instruction when it comes to austerity. I feel like the essence of what austerity is. And then so many wonderful examples of Prabhupada, Maharaj, and Bhakti Tirth Maharaj, and so many other nice examples. And yeah, very nice questions also. It kind of dodged our memory and made us think deeper about so many things. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Actually, all the credit is I just referred various materials, and especially the Subodhini. And for the slides, actually, I should thank Sundari Sakhi, because I was not actually planning to make any slides, but she only made all the slides for me. So yeah, thank you. Yes, Vamshidhar, go for it, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu. Right.
We can't hear you, Amchidar Gopal Prabhu. I think there's something wrong. But thank you, Karan Prabhu. This was amazing. I just want to echo what Jagannath Gopal Prabhu said. Very well prepared, Prabhu. A lot of time and effort you put, and loved all the clips and the stories that